come and get wrecked by the best. Fuck silence!
If you take away only one thing from this story, let it be this: you do not want to go to hell. I spent most of my adult life as an atheist. Growing up, my family was default Christian, you could say. We didn't go to church or tithe or worship, nothing like that. We just said we believed in God, and that was pretty much it. As I got older, I watched many videos online from people who were very angry with their circumstances, and I suppose I identified with them. I thought they had some excellent points. If God was real, why are these kids dying? Or, look what happened with this natural disaster. Any God that would let that happen isn't my God. That kind of stuff. With an underdeveloped understanding of how the world works, I bought into it. I mean, those types of things are bullshit. God could pull a reverse Thanos and fix everything with a snap, right? That's like saying that Apple could fix your PC. Yeah, I'm sure they could, but they don't. It's just not how it works. In the world, shit just happens. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But it's our world. We have free will to do what we want on it and with it. Well, that's what I've done. Whatever I want. If you don't believe in God, you don't believe in hell. You can't have one without the other. Don't believe, then do whatever you want, right? That all changed last month when I got into a car accident. It was bad. Really bad. The doctor assigned to me told me that the paramedics had to resuscitate me. I was dead for almost 3 minutes before they got to me. Do you want to know how long 3 minutes is in hell? I'd estimate it's around 3 months. That's right, I spent 3 months in hell. And I'll never be the same. It's so hard for me to relive this. Honestly, I wish I could just forget about it and move on. But I know it's essential to get this story out there. Hopefully, someone can learn from my mistakes. Trust me, you don't want to go to hell. The last thing I remember was exiting off the freeway when everything went slow motion. The world spun around me, and then black. My eyes opened what felt like an eternity later. My body was distant and stiff. For a while, I couldn't even be sure that I had a body. I was just consciousness, staring off into the darkness. Muffled sounds slowly began to filter into my ears. At first, it was a mix of inaudible sounds, but they eventually separated. I could hear what sounded like the dull roar of flames in a never-ending stream of screams. As my mind recognized the familiar horrors, fear awakened me. That instant was the most surreal feeling of panic and hopelessness I'd ever experienced. And that is the baseline for hell. Dread, plain and simple. Finally, I could feel my body. Pins and needles exploded through every one of my nerves as I tried to collect myself. The heat was sweltering, and dry air burned the inside of my nose and throat. I got my feet under me and shakily rose, blinking rapidly to adjust to the burning air. The dancing spots in the dark gave way to a dim light, that resembled a weak flame flickering in the distance. I was in a dark room of stone, like a small cave, but blocking my exit was iron bars. I reached out to grab the bars and test their strength. My hands were wrapping around their rigid circular shape. I smelled it before I felt it. The repugnant scent of burning flesh. In the next second, pain erupted through my hands. I tried to let go of the bars, but my skin was seared and fused onto the metal. I screamed and pulled. Finally, I broke loose, but sizzling on the iron bars still burned a majority of the flesh from my hands. I sat on the ground for a while, crying from the pain. Each movement of my fingers or arms blossomed a new agony all over again. From somewhere behind me, a nasally cackle emitted, bouncing off the walls and seemingly surrounding me. I snapped my head back, scanning the area, but the back of my new prison was shrouded in darkness. Hello? Is someone there? The words sounded even more unsure than I felt, coming out little more than a pathetic, shaky plea. The answer to that question I wish I'd never asked came in the most horrific voice I'd ever hear. It still haunts my nightmares.
A bitch is here!
What the fuck? Who's there? The words came out before I even had time to realize what I was asking.
It's actually me. Nah, deadass. It's really me.
Me? Who? Who are you?
Vocally Zalmanzar.
The name still haunts my dreams. I don't care what anyone tells you. This is not the name of a person. It's the name of a fucking demon. I sat in stunned silence as a figure walked out of the shadows. It was a woman. She wore almost nothing, save for a few tattered clothing pieces that covered her only when not moving. Something about this woman seemed familiar to me. I racked my brain, trying to place her. The moment I did, everything became even more confusing. What the Are you Cardi B?
My name come from, you know what? My sister name is Hennessy.
What? I don't give a shit. Where are we?
You know what I'm saying? My sister name is Hennessy, right? So everybody used to call me Bacardi. So I always call myself Bacardi, right?
I don't care!
And then it was my Instagram name, like Bacardi B. But for some reason, my Instagram keep getting deleted.
Shut up for 1 second.
It was Bacardi.
Look at my hands. They're fucking burnt off!
Yeah, I see.
I need help. Someone help me! Someone please! Not only did no one come to help as my screams joined the pain-filled ensemble, but that demon locked in my cell started making animal noises and mocking me. Fuck you! I yelled back at her. We sat in silence for some time as I look out from behind the bars, getting as close as I could without touching them. The sweltering heat made the burnt nerves in my hand feel like they were on fire. The pain was maddening. I could feel her eyes on my back, like a predator stalking its prey. Finally, I broke the silence, hoping to get some answers. Do you know where we are?
New York?
She said it with all the confidence in the world, like it was an entirely reasonable assertion. This is not fucking New York.
Upstate New York.
Look around. Do you actually think this is New York?
Yeah.
No, the fuck, it isn't.
Yeah.
Do you see the bars of burning iron trapping us? Do you hear the screams?
Yeah. It smells weird.
What you're smelling is my burning flesh!
What? Where? Where am
Just shut up. You're useless. I bet you can't even tell me how I got here.
My asshole, bro.
Fuck you. Don't talk to me. That's how things went. She would talk incessantly about nothing for hours. It was telling stories to no one in particular that had no point or end. Whenever I fell asleep or passed out or knocked myself out, it was like everything was reset when I woke up. All the damage to my body was repaired, but nothing changed. No person or thing came by the cell to give me anything or even harass me. No food, no bathroom, just a small cave with that abomination. When the hunger pains gnawing at my stomach became so intense I couldn't stand it anymore, I asked her where and when the food came from.
I love yogurt. Yogurt is good for like women. You know, it prevents yeast infections, bacteria vaginosis, and it's really good.
I
for
didn't
you,
bother
for your body.
responding. I knew where this conversation went. Exactly nowhere. One day, I couldn't take it anymore. The talking and singing and yelling, it never stopped. Even the rock floor burned just enough to be extremely uncomfortable. There was no end, no respite. It was all just unbearable. Things got worse when she was singing some song while dancing around in the middle of the cell, her tattered garments revealing far too much of her. Her body seemed even more grotesquely exaggerated than I remembered. It was simultaneously the most annoying and revolting thing I'd ever seen at that point. I wish I said nothing. That was a mistake, but it just came out.
Will you shut up? Can you just be quiet for even 5 minutes? And for fuck's sake, why are you not wearing clothes? I don't want to look at you!
Her head cocked to the side with a bizarre avian jerk. Those haunting eyes burned into me with something malicious before she responded.
You know, men just love half-naked women or butt-naked women.
Something about her calm tone mixed with the unnatural body movements put me off. The burning rage inside me died out, and I turned away from her, not wishing to engage any longer. Another mistake. There's
a robbery!
That was all I heard before pain erupted in the back of my head and black swallowed me whole. My eyes opened only a few moments later to see that thing standing over me. The words she said next and the way she told them, I've never forgotten.
You want to know something?
No, I whispered, the word hardly coming out of my dry, burnt throat.
I want your penis!
She came at me with the ferocity of a wild boar.
Give me your penis!
She yelled, while shredding my clothes with her fucking talons. I tried fighting back, but she smashed a rock into my head, leaving my hell blurry and spinning. I don't want to relive this anymore, but she did things to me. Horrible things. The rest of my time in that place passed in a convoluted blur of agony. Those 3 months or so felt like an eternity. The demon in my cell used every waking moment to torture me, mentally and physically. Sometimes it would just rant and rave for hours, even when I did nothing to engage or acknowledge it. But other times, worse times, it was possessed by violent rage. Always catching me unaware, it would blindside me and tear into my flesh with its claws. Every time she snuck up on me and knocked me unconscious, she'd pulverize my limbs with a rock until they were shattered and useless. On many occasions, it would gorge itself on my body as I watched helplessly and felt every excruciating second. She would sing softly while digging into my stomach and chest, systematically removing all of my organs. My horror would return the next day when I awoke in our cell, made whole, only for it to start all over again. No matter what I tried, she would always get the drop on me. Eventually I would doze off, or sometimes simply blink, and she was there like a rabid animal, smashing me across the head and tearing into me. Sometimes she would thank me for all the gifts, while taking bites out of the pieces of me she pulled from my insides.
How many you spend on all these gifts for me? You are over gifting me. Like, I feel like I owe you something now.
Once, I tried to get her before it could get me. It was like hitting a rock wall. It laughed and shredded me to pieces. That's how things went. It felt like forever. I thought it was going to be forever. But one day, while that thing was tormenting me, a white light shone from above my cell. It was so bright and blinding, the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. A hand made of pure energy reached through the light and grabbed me to take me with it. I heard the demonic wails of my tormentor echoing through the heavenly light. The fear from that noise I'd come to know so well washed away with the healing aura of the light. I was pulled from perdition, lifted above myself. Then, in a split second, I woke up in the back of an ambulance. My eyes snapped open, and my body drew in a breath of clean, cool air. 2 paramedics were standing over me, a woman and a man holding a defibrillator. Tears streamed down my face, and I couldn't help but sob as I reached out to the woman who was closer to me. She held my hand, and I clutched onto her like it was the only thing keeping me from death. My eyes, wide and fearful, locked onto hers. All I knew was that I didn't want to go back, that I don't want to go back. In that defining moment, I'd have given everything for another chance. Even finishing my life with 0 mobility, I still would. But miraculously, with some bed rest and physical therapy, the doctors say I'm going to be okay. In this hospital bed is where I write, to warn you of what awaits. I'll sacrifice anything that is asked of me to go to the other place. I pray these words find you, and even more so, that you listen.
What's up, guys? What do you think about that? Little bit of insanity from the mind of the disciple, who is a fucking psycho. Anyhow, how you guys doing? If you're listening today, on the day of the release, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're celebrating with your family and your loved ones and living your life, man. Fucking do you, boo-boo. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, that's the story. Let me know what you guys think. whether you think, hey man, your brain is defective, the fuck is wrong with you, or you think, hey, you're a fucking idiot savant, like a genius in the form of an idiot. Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, somewhere in the mix of being an idiot and, something else, you know? I think my mom might have dropped me on my head when I was a kid. And then I dropped myself on my head yesterday. Alright guys. Well, that's all I got for you today. New stuff coming soon. Love ya. Bye.